Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Quiz Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 12th January today, and in this video we are going to solve different types of questions which are very much relevant for your preparation. You know, as usual, before we'll start solving these questions, I would like to give the brief introduction about the video so that if you are new to our channel, you will get more connected with it. Every day we try to upload this video on our YouTube channel and we try to discuss various types of questions in it. And if we will break those questions into different parts, it would mostly come under three different headings. In the first part of our discussion, we take up the current affairs. We take up questions directly from the current affairs. You know what we do? We take up the most important articles in the newspapers. We break them down, we discuss them, and we try to derive the possible prelims questions from those particular articles so that it will give you the idea how the questions can be asked from these particular articles, what part of the news article is important for your preparation, and how and what should be your approach towards the current affairs. So this is what we are going to do in the first part of our discussion. After solving questions with respect to current affairs, we will shift our approach to the another part of our discussion where we will take up questions directly from the static topics. Right now we had started with Indian polity, and in Indian polity from today we are going to discuss the office of president, articles related to it. We will give the brief introduction about it and discuss the possible questions which can be asked from this topic. you know it is going to last for 10, I guess, from for 5 to 10 days. We will discuss the office of president here, so we are going to discuss every question possible which can be asked from this particular topic. So this is what we are going to do in the another part of our discussion. After solving questions with respect to current affairs and the static part, we shift our approach to the last part of our discussion. Questions which were asked in our previous exams, that is PYQs. We take few previous year questions. We try to discuss them. We try to understand the language used by UPSC. We try to understand the methods used by UPSC. We try to understand the trends, and we will try to understand how we can solve these questions if we don't have the proper knowledge about them, and we will try to understand how we can implement the knowledge which we get from these important PYQs in our next exam. So this is all we are going to do in this video. Now, before we will start solving these questions, I would like to request you guys one important thing which I believe if you will follow it, it is going to help you in many ways in clearing your examination. And that is, if you are watching this video, please try to note down these questions. Develop your own question bank before the exam. Develop your own question bank. For example, I'm talking about the month of May, when only few days are left for your exams. And at that time, it is our as being an aspirant myself, I know that how much anxiety levels are increasing at during that time. And you want to revise everything. You want to go through your current affairs. You would want to go through static part. You would have to go through the CSAT. You would want to go through previous year questions, but time does not permit you. Time does not permit you to go for the last mile revision. So what will you do? If you will not do that last mile revision, you feel down, you feel underconfident. So what can you do at that time? If you have these questions with you, what you will do, you would just revise these questions. These questions would connect you with the current affairs. They will connect you with the static part. They will connect you with the previous year questions. It will give you the analysis, and it will give you the idea what we had studied since 1 year, what was in the newspapers, what kind of questions could be asked from those articles. It will give you the brief idea. It will boost your confidence, and who knows, as our sources are saying what the UPSC is going to ask, maybe many questions can coincide, or if not the questions, as I always say, at least the statements would, or if not the statements, but trust me, these would be the concepts which they are going to ask you. So being on the safer side, I would recommend you guys to note down these questions, develop your own question bank, and see what happens when your exams are there. Just revise them. They are going to boost your confidence. Now with this, I would like to request you one thing which is very important for the growth of this channel, that is please hit the like button and share it with your friends so that they may also get connected with it. And once you subscribe to our channel or you comment on our videos, it boosts our confidence and we want to make more such videos for you. And please do write in the comments what else should we bring for you guys. So with this, let's have a look at the first question which we have to solve today. Question basically talks about the Central Groundwater Board and the assessment it has done, and it has highlighted a few states, few districts which are highly polluted with nitrates. There is huge pollution in certain districts of India which had seen huge nitrate pollutions. With respect to this topic, we had done a discussion earlier also, in which we discussed various types of pollutions caused especially in groundwater. We had discussed this report. If you will remember that few days back we discussed it. We discussed what are the various impacts of such pollutions. We discussed various diseases like Minamati disease. We discussed various impacts of problems created by such pollutions. So today there was an article in the newspaper, and that talked about is groundwater highly contaminated in India. So in this article there was an analysis, there was a discussion over the assessment done by the Central Groundwater Board. So let's try to understand that. After we will understand that, then we will shift to this question. We will try to solve this question and move to the next topic. you know the assessment done by the made by the Central Groundwater Board, it has found that this assessment has found that in our country it has compared its assessment with 2017, the assessment done in 2023, and the assessment which was earlier done in 2017. It has compared these two assessments, and it has found out that in 2017 there were 357 districts which were highly polluted. That is, polluted in which sense? Polluted in groundwater. In groundwater, the groundwater in such districts were highly polluted. And in 2023, what is the report now? In 2023, the report has found out that the number of districts has increased to 440. So number of districts has increased to 440. So this much number of districts has the groundwater is being polluted in this much number of districts. And if we will compare it, the total number of districts in our country, we will find out that more than 50% of Indian districts have excess nitrates in groundwater. Basically this whole discussion is about the nitrate pollution. This whole discussion is about the nitrate pollution. And with respect to this assessment done by the Central Groundwater Board, it has found out that the nitrate pollution has increased from 357 districts earlier in 2017 to 440 districts, and which adds to a point that in our country more than 50% districts in our country are highly polluted with nitrate. More than 50% of Indian districts have excessive nitrates in groundwater. And having excessive nitrates in groundwater is never a good news. It has impact on human health, it has impact on marine health, it has impact on ecosystem. It does impact everything. So let's see what are its impacts on human health. We discussed about the blue baby syndrome in our recent class also, that is caused due to the excess nitrates in the groundwater. When we drink water which is polluted by nitrates, these nitrates bind with the hemoglobin, and and it causes this syndrome that our hemoglobin is not able to carry the oxygen, and because of that when our body is not able to carry the oxygen, our skin turns blue. And it causes the blue baby syndrome, and it is usually it usually impacts the babies. So this is one of the issue with the nitrate pollution. Then another issue which this article actually highlighted, it highlighted about the marine lifestyles and ecosystems also get impacted. When this polluted waters, they go into the lakes, ponds, or whatever rivers. When there is high concentration of the nitrates, so what happens there? The algal bloom happens there. The algal bloom. When there is algal bloom, or we can say eutrophication happens there, then what it leads to? It will deprive the water body of the oxygen. The water body will be deprived of the oxygen because of this algal bloom, and it will definitely impact the water oxygen mixture in water, oxygen quantity of oxygen in water, and it will definitely impact the marine life there. So these are the major impacts of the nitrate pollution which the author which this article highlighted. And this article also highlighted what are the causes of this nitrate pollution. So let's move to the causes. Here first, let us recap what we understood. This assessment given by the Central Groundwater Board, it gave an assessment. It compared it with 2017. In 2017, only 357 districts were polluted, and in 2023, 440 are polluted, which makes it more than 50% of Indian districts have excessive nitrates in groundwater. So because of having this excessive nitrates in the groundwater, in our village, people usually drink from the groundwater. We extract groundwater, and it is believed that 25% of the global groundwater is extracted from India only. So this much of global groundwater is extracted in India only. So we depend hugely on the groundwater. Once this groundwater is taken into the human body, it leads to a disease which is also called as blue baby syndrome, about which we discussed in our earlier class also. And it also impacts the marine life. When this water goes into the lakes and ponds, it leads to the eutrophication, it leads to the algal bloom, and it deprives the water body from the right quantity of oxygen, and it definitely impacts the living bodies there. And it definitely impacts the fish health there, or other living bodies which are living in water. It definitely impacts their lifestyle. So these are the major issues created by this excessive nitrates. So what are the reasons of this excessive nitrate in groundwater, that we have to understand, and that was also highlighted in this news article. So one of the major reasons given in it is, first of all, the excessive dependence on fertilizers. Our agriculturalists, our farmers are excessively dependent on fertilizers. When you are excessive dependent on fertilizers, and in fertilizers, especially on nitrogen based fertilizers, for example urea, when this excessive dependence on fertilizers, when these fertilizers are mixed with the soil, these fertilizers, they seep into the groundwater, and they pollute the groundwater. This is one of the reason why there is a nitrification of the groundwater, or we can say there is the presence of nitrates in the groundwater. Second reason, which was highlighted by the same report, was the excessive extraction of groundwater. Excessive extraction of groundwater, as I already mentioned, that in our country it is believed that we extract 25% of the global groundwater. So once this excessive extraction of global groundwater is done in our country, how it impacts the groundwater health. When there is least amount of groundwater available now, when such chemicals seep into the groundwater, when, for example, this is the this is you know this is the you know this is the initial level of groundwater, and we had extracted very much, and it has reached to this level. For example, I'm for the explanation's sake, now the groundwater level has reached to this level, and once these chemicals seep in, when these nitrates seep in, there is no availability of enough water to dilute these chemicals. So these chemicals are not diluted, they remain in this state only. Once these chemicals are not diluted, it definitely impacts the composition of the water. It leads to the nitrate pollution in the groundwater. Because of the excessive extraction of groundwater, this also leads to nitrate pollution. Then another, which we also discussed in the previous discussion, we discussed about the industrial wastes. This is also one of the concern. Because of the industrial waste, it is not only the nitrate pollution, mercury pollution, Minamati disease, cadmium pollution, we saw the fly ash, arsenic, issues of arsenic. It is all because of the industrial waste. And also the waste management issues in our country. If the waste management is not done properly, fecal materials get mixed with the groundwater, and it leads to the water pollution. It leads to various diseases, for example, typhoid, typhoid and cholera. Then also unscientific landfills. So these are few reasons which were highlighted in this article, which talked about how this groundwater is getting polluted. Now in this video, in this article itself, there was definitely the mention of the states which are highly polluted, which have highly polluted groundwater bodies in those particular states, and that we will understand through this question. First, I hope, before we solve this question, I hope you had got the basic idea why we had brought this question here. You had got the context of this question. You had understood the article. You had understood the assessment done by the Central Groundwater Board. And by this, we will shift now to the question and try to solve this question and understand what are the states which have highest number of whose groundwater is highly polluted, is highly concentrated with the nitrogen, nitrates. So here the question says, with reference to the recent assessment of groundwater quality by the Central Groundwater Board, which of the following states has reported the highest levels of nitrates contamination exceeding the permissible limit? So which are these states? It is Rajasthan, which has exceeded 49%. Rajasthan, please remember that. After Rajasthan, so with respect to this question, the correct option is option A. But after Rajasthan, it is Karnataka, and after Karnataka, it is Tamil Nadu. These are the states which have highly polluted groundwater. And what are the various reasons for the pollution of the groundwater? We saw that excessive dependence on fertilizers. We saw that over extraction of groundwater. We saw the industrial effluents. We saw waste management issue, unscientific landfills, also salt water intrusion in coastal areas, for especially in Gujarat and Tamil Nadu. So this is all about this topic. What are the states which are highly polluted? Rajasthan, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. What are the reasons? We discussed that, and we compared it with 2017 report. We saw that how more states are getting polluted, how groundwater in more states is getting polluted. So with this, I hope you had understood the topic itself. Now let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here the question is about the Sulfobacillus acidophilus, a bacteria, actually a soil bacteria, which you should know. You may ask me a question here, sir, why we had brought this question, because there was an interesting article in the newspaper which actually talked about the research being done in IIT Roorkee, I guess is the name. IIT Roorkee. They had, this IIT Roorkee. It has used bacterial enzymes. It has used the bacterial enzymes to degrade plasticizers. This IIT Roorkee, they are using the bacterial enzymes to degrade plasticizers. Bacterial enzymes to degrade plasticizers. So first here we need to know what these plasticizers are. These plasticizers, they are the chemicals, we can say. These are chemicals which are used in plastics when for example, you are making any toy which is made up of plastic, or any utensil. These plasticizers are used on that, so that it will give it the elasticity. It will give the elasticity to those plastics, and as well as it will give the shine. So these plasticizers, if they mix with human body, if they get into the human body, it can lead to cancers. So this is one of the major reasons that we are going for the degradation of the plastics, where the countries are favoring the ban of plastics, especially plasticizers. So with respect to plastics, we know that they are not easily degradable. There are certain bacterias which are either cultured in labs, or they are naturally occurring. They are only those bacteria produce the enzymes which can degrade this plasticizers or plastic. So with respect to that, this IIT Roorkee, they had developed, they are working on the bacteria, namely Sulfobacillus acidophilus. So this bacteria, what does it do? It produces an enzyme. It produces an enzyme which is named as esterase enzyme, which is named as esterase esterase enzyme, and this esterase enzyme is able to degrade this plastic easily. But the problem with this sulfobacillus acidophilus, the problem with this bacteria is that it is not that much abundantly found in the soil. So what this IIT is doing, they are culturing this sulfobacillus acidophilus. They are using its DNA, or we can say they are cloning it with the help of the, what they are doing, they are cutting the gene of this bacteria and they are inserting it into the E. coli, which is also the another soil bacteria, and they are culturing this. Once they had done it, and this E. coli, it is able, they are able to culture this, in which there are strands, there are genes of this bacteria Sulfobacillus acidophilus and this E. coli, in which these genes are available. They are able, this bacteria is able to produce this enzyme now, which is the enzyme, as we said, esterase enzyme. So these enzymes are available. These enzymes can be used in the degradation of the plastics. So it is, this study is being done in the IIT Roorkee. So this is the news why we are discussing this question here. This is the analysis why we are discussing this question. This is all what has been done with respect to this. So how it will degrade it, once this enzyme will react with these plasticizers, it will convert it into, these plasticizers would be converted into water, H2O, H2O and H2O and CO2. So these would be the byproducts once this enzyme would interact with the plasticizers. So this would be the byproduct. Now here are concerned that if it would be used in abundance, it could lead to the global warming because of that, which is also one of the issue. But yet it has not been done to that level. These things can arise once this would be done in universal way. But still, the research is being done on it, and this IIT Roorkee, it has been, it has worked it very well, and it has, it has generated this enzyme, it has cultured this bacteria in the lab, it has done the gene transfer, or we can say cloning of this bacteria into E. coli, and this E. coli is now able to produce this enzyme which can degrade the plasticizers. This whole news behind it. Now let's solve this question. Let's see what does the question say. Here the question says, in the context of the recent scientific development, Sulfobacillus acidophilus has gained attention for its potential application in which of the following fields? Directly degradation of plasticizers, and that's why we are discussing this topic right now. It can have its importance in also different fields, but here we can see why it has got attention right now. The attention is because of the degradation of plasticizers. It can be used in production of biofuels, but it is not the reason for its attention. So that's why you have to read the questions very carefully. Sometimes you will feel that every option is correct, because same product, same, for example, this bacteria, it can be used in many of these options there. But here the catch is in the question itself, why it has got this attention. That's why you need to go through the current affairs, you need to do this analysis. So with this, let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here the question is with respect to the rat hole mining, the incident which happened in Assam with respect to the rat hole mining. Uh, with respect to that news, three more bodies have been retrieved from this. They were doing this rat hole mining. They were searching for the coal mines, and usually this rat hole mining is done in those places where the coal mines are not in that abundance. Coal mines are not in abundance. Why they go for this rat hole mining? Because they don't want to spend that much money on the mines. Once in places where the coal mines are in abundance, they will directly go for the mining where they will invest in crores. But once there are states where that much coal is not available, and in clusters the coal is available in clusters, so why would the company go for the overall mining. So what they will choose, they prefer the rat hole mining. And this rat hole mining, if we will try to understand this rat hole mining through this question, for example, here is the coal ore available, or we can say coal is available. So what they will do, they will dig a canal, they will dig a tunnel here, and they will directly reach to this place. So in this incident, in the rat hole mining in Assam, same was being done, and unfortunately the rain started, and the water, it seeped in, and the persons who were in this mine, they died. Now with respect to this, people had died. Now it becomes important for us to understand more about rat hole mining, so that we will understand through this question. Let's see what does the question say. Which of the following statements regarding rat hole mining in India are correct? First statement: it is a primitive and hazardous method of mining typically employed for extracting coal in narrow seams. 100% correct, nothing wrong with the statement. Second, it involves digging narrow vertical shafts to horizontal tunnels for extraction. 100% correct, nothing wrong with this statement either. Third statement: the National Green Tribunal has imposed a ban on rat hole mining across India, not across India, but especially in Meghalaya. In Meghalaya, they had imposed the ban on rat hole mining. So this statement is incorrect. Fourth statement: is predominantly practiced in the states of Meghalaya, Assam, and some other parts of northeast India. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, what are the correct statements? It is statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is correct, and statement 4 is correct. With respect to third statement, why it is incorrect? Because this ban was only introduced in Meghalaya, and it is not properly followed. This ban is not properly followed there, and that is the reason in Assam these people died. So with this, let us shift to the last question from the current affairs today. Let's see what is in the news today. you know right now, as we are seeing the Los Angeles fires, the deadly fires there, and those fires, they are increasing day by day, and they are getting more oxygen, we can say. They are expanding more. So with respect to that, this Santa Ana winds, it becomes important because it has led to these wildfires there. So let's try to understand more about the Santa Ana winds through this question. Here the question says, which of the following statements concerning Santa Ana winds are correct? They are strong hot dry winds that originates from the high pressure areas over the Great Basin desert and moves towards the southern California. 100% correct. For example, this is the coastline. Here is the Great Basin desert. They originate here. There it is usually you know at this place it is not hot, but once it is moving from the mountains, when it is going down from the mountains, then it gets contracted, and it gets the temperature. Why it gets the temperature? But one thing is very much important, which you should know about the Great Basin desert here, that you know here there it lacks moisture, and in the months of usually from September to to winters, to early winters, this incident, these winds move from this place. There is high pressure, moisture is very low, and and in this region the pressure is low, and we know about the winds, they move from the high pressure to the low pressure. So these winds, they originate from these Santa Ana winds, they originate from the Great Basin desert to the southern California or other states there. So the first statement is 100% correct, nothing wrong with this statement. Second, they are characterized by low humidity and high temperatures, which can significantly increase the risk of wildfire. 100%. They have low humidity, very much low humidity, and high temperatures. High temperatures and low humidity, it is one of the concern. Third statement, they are most common during the summer months. Here is my point. They are most common in the summer months, coinciding with the peak fire season in California. No, they are not common in they don't occur in summer months, but autumn or early winter. We can say autumn and early winter. So third statement is incorrect. So with respect to Santana means, with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2 only. 1 and 2 only. So with this, we complete today's discussion with the current affairs topics. I hope you would had understood everything what I was discussing here. If anything, if there is any point which I was not able to explain properly, please do write in the comments. I will try to share that with you. I will try to clear that confusion if there is any. Now with this, let's move to the another part of our discussion, which is the static topic, and let's try to understand. As from today we are going to discuss the president, let's try to understand simple introduction about the now before sorry, I forget to mention that we have one more question here. It is about the Greenland. It is about Greenland. Why we had brought this question? Because Donald Trump is discussing about annexing this Greenland from Denmark. So let's try to understand more about Greenland. Here the question says, through this question, here the question says, which of the following statements regarding Greenland are correct? First statement, it is the world's largest island, geographically part of North America, but politically a constituent country within the Kingdom of Denmark. It is an autonomous country within the Kingdom of Denmark. 100% correct, nothing wrong with the statement. Second statement, the Greenland ice sheet is the second largest ice sheet in the world after Antarctica, and its melting contributes significantly to the global sea level rise. 100% correct. Third, Greenland possesses significant reserves of rare earth minerals which are attracting increasing global interest. 100% correct. That is also one of the reasons cited by the critics that why Donald Trump wants to annex it. The fourth statement, the indigenous people of Greenland are primarily Inuit. You should remember that. These are the indigenous people of the Greenland who have a distinct culture and language. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, all the four statements are correct. So why we discussed this question? Because there is news about the annexing of the Greenland, which the Donald Trump is talking about. So with this, now let's shift to the static part. Let's see what question we had brought. Let us discuss about the president. You know, before we will discuss about the president, before we will discuss about the president of India, the honorable president of India, we have discussed about the mode of democracy which we are following in our country. In India, we follow the in India for this is a little introduction about it. So this is some very basic knowledge which we had brought in this question. In India, we follow the Westminster model of democracy. What we follow? Westminster model of democracy. That is, we had borrowed this model of democracy from the Britain, where there is separation between the ceremonial and the actual state power. So what is this? How we had borrowed it from the Britain? In Britain, we have the monarch, and we have the uh, PM also. So this monarch in the Britain, he is the ceremonial head of the state. He is the ceremonial head of the state, and similar to the monarch in he is the ceremonial head of the state. But one thing about him is it is the post. This post is hereditary in nature. This post is hereditary in nature. So this post is hereditary in nature. In compared to this thing in Great Britain, we have India, where we also have the ceremonial head, which is the president, and we have the actual head, which is the head of the government, which is the prime minister. About president, he is not one difference how it is different from the west, how it is different from the Britain, that this president is elected. It is we have to go for the indirect elections. Who are the members that elect the president? That we will understand in when we will discuss about the election of the president. The members who are in the legislative assemblies of the states, or the UTs, the members who are in the parliament, or we can say legislative assemblies of in the parliament. We will discuss that when the election comes, when this election comes, who are the members who are not included in this election, so that we will understand. We will discuss about the single transferable vote, that we will discuss. Here we are discussing the basic difference between India being republic and British being monarchy, how we had borrowed this concept, how we had borrowed this Westminster democracy from Britain, and what are the common between the two. Both the president and the monarch, they are the ceremonial head. They are ceremonial heads. They are no, they are, we can say, they, it is de jure, the letter of law, in letter of law, the jury in letter of law, they are the ceremonial heads, and the government, PM, they are the actual heads of the state, or we can say de facto, they are the actual heads of the state. So this is the common thing which we had brought from the Britain, how it is different from Britain. In Britain they have monarchy, in India we have republic, the president is elected. So this is all basics which I believe we should know about the president, about the mode of the democracy. And about the president, in the Indian constitution, we discuss it under the part 5 of the constitution. you know Part 5 of the Indian Constitution, it contains all three organs of the union government, whether it would be executive, whether it would be legislature, whether it would be the judiciary. It contains the president, the vice president, the parliament, the judiciary, the attorney general of India, the controller and auditor general of India, and they all are contained in part 5 of the constitution. So if the question may be asked with respect to president, that it comes under which part of the constitution, it comes under part 5 of the Indian constitution. So this is the basic idea about the president in India. He is the ceremonial head. He is head on the name. If any agreement is signed between the two countries, it would be signed on his name. He is not the actual head, that we should know. Now let's solve this question and get more idea about the introduction of the president. Here the question says that consider the following statements regarding the office of the President of India. Here the President of India is the ceremonial head of the state and the first citizen of India. 100% correct. He is the first citizen of India and he is the ceremonial head of the state. Second option, the office of the President is established under Part 5 of the Indian Constitution of India, which deals with the Union Executive. In it, it contains the President, Vice President, judiciary, everything in this part 5, and it contains the president also, so it comes under the part 5 of the Indian Constitution. Third statement, the president of India is the supreme commander of the armed forces but exercises this power only on the advice of the prime minister and the council of ministers. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, here what you need to know, he is the supreme commander. The president's office, discussion in the constitution comes under part 5 of the constitution, and he is the ceremonial head. He is the first citizen. This is all what you need to know from this discussion which we have done today. Now with this, I hope with respect to this question, all the three statements are correct. With this, let's move to the last part of our discussion, where we will solve a previous year question and we will wind up our discussion. Usually in this part, if the questions are factual, then in such questions you can't do much. If you don't know the answer, then it is better for you to leave it. But if the questions are conceptual, then we have different ways and methods by which we can solve those questions. Here, today's question which we had brought, as right now we are discussing the physical geography. We discussed the history, all the three parts of the history. We discussed the freedom struggle also. Now today we are discussing the physical geography. From few days we are discussing this, and we have reached to this question which was asked in 2001 itself. And let's see what does this question say. Quartzite is metamorphosed from which stone? It is directly from the sandstone. So the correct option to this is option C. So whenever there are such factual questions, you need to have the proper knowledge. You can't do much with respect to that. In UPSC exams, there are, most of the questions majorly, approximately, I would say 40, approximately 40 questions are asked in such a way which are conceptual based, or we can say which are concept based. 40 to 60 questions are like that. And one thing about UPSC, if you know 50 questions properly, you are done. You had qualified the prelims. For you to qualify the prelims, you need to answer only 50 questions. If you are able to answer only 50 questions, then consider yourself done if your CSAT is done, if you had qualified CSAT. So in a way, if you will understand the pattern of prelims, we will discuss that. If you want, then write in the comments. It is in a way very easy to crack the prelims. I had done it multiple times. Very easy to crack the prelims if you have the proper understanding of it. If you have the proper understanding of the syllabus of the what is asked in the prelims, for you to clear, I would like to mention a few things here. For you to clear prelims, just do three things. First of all, follow my channel and start writing these questions for at least 1 year. Second, don't miss any current affairs. This is what you have to do. It will take, this video that would be for your current affairs. Second thing, clear your political science, very easy. Clear your history, very easy, and economics and geography, these four subjects. If you are very much strong in these four subjects and you had followed the questions, you had followed the question sessions, you had followed the current affairs, there is no one who can stop you from clearing the prelims. It is not that tough. You just need 50 questions. You have to just answer 50 questions clearly and you are done. So with this, we will conclude today's discussion. I hope you had liked the video. I hope you would share it with your friends, and I definitely hope you would subscribe. Uh, Once you subscribe our channel, it definitely helps us in growing of our channel. So please do it for for the teaching sake, for motivating us. Do it as the token of appreciation if you like our work. Thank you for staying with me. Have a nice day.